Welcome to the Forge Your Future podcast, brought to you by East Central Educational Service Center, located in Newcastle, Indiana. We proudly provide service support and collaboration to 14 counties and 39 member districts.
At ECESC, we believe that students' strengths and interests are a blueprint to forging a future of success and impact, and we are on a journey to provide support and collaboration to schools as they implement career-connected learning for all students.
As part of this mission, we are here today to celebrate the amazing educators who help the students of East Central Indiana dream big dreams and achieve more than they thought possible.
Their work inspires us each day, and we want to lift up their stories and the stories of the students they are impacting and serving.
Welcome to the Forge Your Future podcast. My name is Lindsay Lovern, Instructional Specialist and Grant Coordinator here at ECESC. This episode is structured a little differently. Today, we're exploring a powerful theme. What happens when dedicated educators return to their roots to shape the future of the community that helped raise them? We're heading to Alexandria Monroe High School to speak with two teachers who are also alumni of the school. First, we'll talk with Archie Prince, a CTE teacher whose path took him through the military and manufacturing before bringing him back to the classroom. And later, we'll be joined by Leigh Bivens, a 12th grade English teacher who returned home to give students the same support she received during her own teenage years. Though their subjects are different, their mission is the same: forging the future in the very place that forged them.
So to be able to give back every day and be able to be a part of this community that I grew up in and now that I'm working in, it's just special for me.
But this is home, so I love it here. You know, my hope is that I can do that for a couple kids and help a few kids here and there, then that's the goal.
We are very excited to be joined by Archie Prince, CTE teacher at Alexandria Monroe, one of our member districts here in East Central Indiana. Welcome to the podcast, Archie. How are you doing today?
My name is Archie Prince, teach at Alexandria Monroe High School, and this is my alma mater, I guess is what you'd call it. I graduated from here in 2006. I was served in the military for a while, bounced around the United States for a couple of different jobs and things, and found myself back in Alexandria, my hometown, would have been back in 2017. My professional background, I originally, I was in the Army National Guard. I attended Ball State, so chirp, chirp, I'm a big Ball State guy. Graduated from there and actually went into manufacturing sales. I sold heavy industrial equipment for Sherwin-Williams and did a bunch of different manufacturing jobs for them. Then transitioned into some different corporate jobs with Walmart, and then found myself as a full-time sub in 2019, and eventually transitioned into teaching.
Yeah, I could see where your previous experiences would give you a lot of credibility with students. There's many teachers that the life of education is all they know, Pat and I included. That's been our whole career. And so you bring a different perspective, and I'm sure students really appreciate that.
Being able to take my bachelor's degree and taking my work experience and using that as applicable qualifications to be able to work with these students, to be able to say, hey, I've done that. I've clocked in. I've had to do these line audits. I've had to set that machine up. Having those real world experiences, it matters. I don't think I've ever seen something happening and not wanted to understand how it works. I'm just a very curious person and kid. When I was growing up, I was often told, you ask too many questions, or why are you asking those? And I always wanted to learn. And that always fostered an opportunity for me to be trained in different things, take on new experiences and learn new things. And then as I got older, got more experience, I realized I really enjoy being able to pass that knowledge along in those experiences. So for the day-to-day things, being able to just share that. I have a lot of natural energy and drive anyway. It's just something I've always had. But being able to come in and help lift somebody up that, may not have somebody that believes in them or has somebody that'll listen to them or give them a chance. That's really what I try to just strive for.
So talk to us, walk us into your classroom and what's happening in your classroom, and then how are you helping students take what they're learning in your classroom and get real world, real life, work-based learning experience? Yeah,
so our program builds on the first year, right? They come to me as sophomores. Many of them have never had a job. Many of them don't have their license at that point. They're 15 years old and starting to get to that next maturity jump where they're working through some things and trying to see what's next in life. We start to get them focused, right, on, hey, what do I want to do? What is manufacturing, right? We start to explore those things. And then we start to hone in on what does work life look like? We spend a lot of time on showing up on time and being responsible. I have 3 rules in my room. It's work with respect, work with integrity, and never give up. Because at the end of the day, and I always say this, is in a manufacturing plant, I can't go up to my boss and say, I gave you a C+ effort today. Did we do it or did we not? Okay, if we didn't do it, why didn't we, and what did we learn from that? And it's an approach of thinking that, for me as an adult and in the military and pretty much every career I've had has really been beneficial for me, because we all fail, right? I tell my students all the time, I never learned anything when I succeeded. I learned every time I failed at something, right? And so we try to celebrate that in here, is give them that opportunity to try to explore some new skills and then kind of fail along the way, right? And then as we explore that sophomore year, we get into the more advanced things that junior year. In junior year, they actually get an opportunity to run what we call Tiger Manufacturing. It's kind of our business that we run through it. Not really a business. It's really run through donations, but we take orders from for the school at times, and we'll make keychains for prom, right? And that's 2 or 3. That's 200 keychains sometimes, and the students have to approach that as a business. So the students have to work up their material list. They have to meet with the customer. They have to come up with the design. They have to come up with a production schedule. And we've modeled it exactly like I would have in my manufacturing plants when I was working. For one, that's my experience, and it's applicable, right? We want it to be real world experience. And so we do that. Then there are times we have the students clock in. We have a QR code where they'll come in and they'll sign in at times as a way to start to practice those things. At that sophomore level, we spend a lot of time getting them ready for summer jobs. Toward the back end of the semester, we spend quite a bit of time on resumes. I've hired a couple hundred people through my time in management and all the different things. So while we're talking with students, I put them through an interview. Mr. Kyle, our principal, will come down and help me do interviews when we do that. But I approach it like I would have when I was interviewing for Walmart, right? We want to ask the same questions. We want to give them honest and good feedback. Because I want these kids to be successful when they're not here as well. So I like to leave them at the end of their sophomore year with a good resume. That way they can get out there and get working. It's where they're going to learn, I can do so much in this class, but getting them in the workforce really matters.
What are you recommending right now? Tell us something you'd be excited to share with others. Could be anything professional or personal. We've seriously had everything from listen to this leadership podcast to here's what I'm watching on Netflix. So whatever it is, what are you recommending right now?
Community involvement. Get your communities involved. For years we've had so many, there's up, down, or in between. We have the community feel like they got excluded at times, right? And we've had schools feel like they weren't understood correctly. Having your community involved is key. Bringing our business partners in to partner with our program, we said, hey, what do you need? What do you need us to do? What kind of employees do you need? And while we do that for CTE, I really do think there's a bridge and an opportunity for other, classes, whether it's looking at our science departments or our English, bringing in people who are in those fields doing those things, like bringing journalists in, or I don't know what that looks like, but I think any community involvement that you can get and any professionals that are out there doing the job every day, there's going to be experiences that, I'm in here every day in this nice room, and they're in that hot factory. There's things that I don't see and that these kids need to know, right? And so for me, it's community involvement. The more you can get your community involved, the more open these schools can be. For kids like me, it was a big deal for me as a kid. Being able to be at this school and have it as a resource was huge. And I think at times, especially during COVID, we got really closed off as a community, and we need to get back to those community roots. I think it matters.
And now, staying within the halls of Alexandra Monroe Junior-Senior High School, we shift from the manufacturing workshop to the 12th grade English classroom to speak with another dedicated educator, Leigh Bivens. Welcome, Leigh.
Hello. Thank you for having me, Lindsay. So I teach at Alexandria Monroe High School. I also graduated from Alexandria in 1994. So I came back home. I think I'm year 17. I worked at Alexandria, but then I did go to Maine and to Kentucky to teach. And then I came back home. So I've worked at Alexandria twice with a little break in the middle. But this is home. So I love it here. My why is I was not a difficult teenager, but I had difficult teenage years. They were rough. And I had some really special teachers who enveloped me, who saw potential in me. I had an English teacher, obviously, who took my poems and used them as examples and things like that. So, my hope is that I can do that I know I can't do that for everyone, but if I can touch a couple kids and help a few kids here and there, then that's the goal. Make their teenage years a little less horrible sometimes.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite piece of literature that you like to teach?
It shifts, it moves. I think as a teacher, you have to be willing to shift and move and find new things. I would have said, years ago, I would have said To Kill a Mockingbird is a traditional favorite. But the longer we go on, there are more classics to be had. So it's hard to say now what are classics. So I think now I'm enjoying things with a more mental health, a look at mental health. Turtles All the Way Down is a great book that's insightful for teenagers that are dealing with mental health issues. All the Bright Places also is something that I like to teach. As far as like classics, though, I teach Fried Green Tomatoes at the Whistle Stop Cafe and The Alchemist, and I love those stories. So most students have never heard of Fried Green Tomatoes, and so I love introducing them to those characters. They're vivid and wonderful.
What do you see as your personal teaching superpower?
This is probably, because it doesn't have anything to do with English, but classroom management is probably my superpower, because I think it's the thing you have to have first. And if you don't have command of your own classroom, and I don't mean like from a standpoint of like discipline, I don't have any discipline issues really. It's rare if obviously I have seniors, that's a little bit easier, but I have taught 7th and 8th grade, and I rarely have discipline problems because my room is so structured and we move so quickly. There's no time, there's no downtime. We do most of our things in class. I don't give homework because I believe we can get it done in here if we're intentional, and I don't give the kids time to think about doing something else. Like I don't say, here's an assignment and you've got the rest of the class period to finish it. I don't do that. There's a timer on everything. Hey, you've got 10 minutes. This is what we're working on. You get as much done as you can. And it's based on your effort, and it's based on working, and it's not based on, did I get all the answers right? Because we're going to go over them in class and we're going to learn it together. So now there are tests and things like that, but I think having a classroom that runs, the kids don't realize that they're learning, and by the time they start to get a little bored or fed up with you, or you're getting fed up with them, because it happens, parents, sorry, it happens, the class period's over. It's 45 minutes and it's done.
What can you tell us about what our leaders of the future are going to be like?
Well, our leaders are tech savvy. I think that's a given. They teach me more about tech every day. I teach a digital media class too, and we make TikToks and Instagrams, and they are teaching me so many things. Hey, Ms. Bivens, did you know you could do this? And I had no idea I could do that. They teach me a lot. I think they also, I think they're problem solvers in a way that's different, in that they're not as collaborative. They're more private problem solvers. I really work on getting them to collaborate more. I think because social media and because we're on our phones so much, we can't go 2 minutes without looking. The kids are the same way. But I think because of that, they're problem solvers, but in a different way. I think their use of technology in regards to like ChatGPT, they're not afraid of it. They're familiar with it. They use it for all kinds of things beyond schoolwork. I know like teachers are really worried about them using it to cheat, but I'm really concerned with using your resources. So I understand I don't want them to cheat, but at the same time, if it's a resource, use it, learn to use it well. So I think they're resourceful, just in a different way. Where we had to be hands-on resourceful, they are technology and technologically resourceful.
Yeah.
And again, I think they're more private, not as much communicators. But I think that's okay a little bit too. You don't have to tell everything.
Right. So, yes.
Yeah.
Well, it makes sense if they are using technology a lot in their problem solving, that they're, oh, I feel like I have the answers right here, rather than seeking out a thought partner or, doing something collaborative. So that makes sense. Yeah.
So we work a lot on just talking to each other, just share an idea that you wrote down, because we can't forget the people around us.
Yeah. Do you have any strategies for strengthening those communication skills?
Well, I've been really working on something. I started watching some people on TikTok and even on Facebook, a group, Edge Protocols. And I don't know if you're familiar with them, but really comes from out of California. And I got to go this summer to Laguna Beach to their summer academy. And they do the 4 C's of education. And it is, so I had to write them down, but creativity, collaboration, critical thinking, and communication. And I was really drawn to the collaboration and the communication. I've been really intentional with using these protocols because all of them require some kind of talking with their peers. So whether that's they have to make a presentation, like a quick slide, like 1 slide presentation, and then everyone has to talk about it. They get like 30 seconds to talk about their slide. Or if it's elbow partners talking to each other, again, brainstorming first, but then you have to share an idea with someone else. So I have been loving the stuff that they put out because it is so necessary to collaborate and to communicate to be successful in what we're doing in the classroom.
Yeah. So then you got to spend a little summer learning alongside them as well. Did you say it was in Laguna Beach?
It was. It wasn't bad, let me just tell you.
Not a bad locale for a summer training.
If you got to do a professional development, that's the one to do. I wanted to go and chose to go and loved it. Again, spent 2 full days just learning so much. I came home and my mom was asking me like, oh, do you feel like it was worth it? Do you feel like it was worth it? I was like, it is, but my brain is so full. I don't even know, but I highly recommend it. If you are in education, Edge Protocols. I think it's already the next big thing in some places. It just maybe hasn't gotten here yet. And I think it's the next big thing.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. You also mentioned when you were talking about our future and problem solving, you mentioned AI and ChatGPT. What is your hot take on where all that's going? As an English teacher, especially, I can just feel like I'm supposed to ask you that, right? Like the listeners want to know.
Yeah, they want to know. Honestly, it's a battle of, getting them to do work on their own when they could get the answer somewhere else. We do a lot of things in class to mitigate that, to make sure that they aren't using it. But if we do it in class, then I can pretty much guarantee that it's theirs. So you go back to pencil paper on some things, go back old school to make sure that, they aren't using ChatGPT. The other thing is showing them how to use it well. I told him this year, we were talking about writing college essays, and I said, you want to find an angle to write your college essay about. So for example, one of my talents is writing, and I could say something like ChatGPT is taking my job because, I used to have people call me all the time. Hey, how would I say this? What's a nice way to say this? What's a professional way to say this? And, or would have me, I need to respond to this email, or I need a resume. And I could just do that because it's in my skill set. And I'm like, I don't get those calls anymore. ChatGPT is, people have figured it out and they don't call me. I'm not needed anymore. And so I think too, being vulnerable and honest with my students to say, it's going to take some jobs probably. So you need to be thinking about your skill set and always be willing to learn. I'm almost 50. And I have to learn. I'm still going to Edge Protocols so that I can learn. And I'm going to have to adapt to whatever. And so this year I've been using a lot more technology And I've been using ChatGPT, but I've been trying to show them a good ethical way to use it. Like, oh, I can't just look up my answer, but I can write a sentence and I can say what's a better way to say it, and I can ask ChatGPT for that. And I think they're listening. I think that they're understanding the difference, between straight out, cheating and getting an answer, having it write an essay, to it being another tool that we can use. But how to find that balance, I feel like you got to do a lot of stuff in the room.
Yes.
While you're there. But I think if you prepare your kids, they won't mind doing that.
Well, Leigh, it was so good to talk to you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you so much for everything that you shared. Can't wait to get out all of your thoughts and positive vibes about teachers into the universe more. So
thank you. Thanks.
What great conversations with two incredible educators from Alexandria Monroe. It's so clear how their deep roots in the community fuel their passion for teaching. And while one teaches manufacturing and the other teaches English, they are both laser focused on preparing students for the future. Archie does it with hands-on, career-connected learning, and Leigh does it by fostering communication and teaching students how to adapt in our ever-changing world. Both conversations prove the value of connecting the classroom to the real world, whether that's through business partnerships or by cultivating the durable skills students will need for the rest of their lives. A huge thank you to Archie and Leigh for their time and their dedication. And thank you to our listeners for joining us on the Forge Your Future podcast. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Forge Your Future podcast. We hope that this glimpse into the bright future of East Central Indiana inspires you and brings you hope.
We have the privilege to work with these future makers every day and want to share their stories throughout Indiana and beyond.
If you enjoyed today's podcast, please share it with your circle and let's keep the conversation going.
You can connect with us on LinkedIn, Facebook, X, and on our website.
Until next time, remember that your strengths and interests are a blueprint to your future of success and impact.